I am back from Emerald City Comic Con and I had such an amazing time. This is my first year attending as an exhibitor and yeah, just attending in general, and it was a really cool event. I, as you already know, go to a lot of large conventions throughout the year, and Emerald City's been on my list for a while. I think I applied to it last year and the year before last, and yeah, I'm so very glad I got in. So some of the highlights from this first experience: the artist alley itself is incredible. It's huge. I think I heard someone say there was about 600 artists there. It's the largest artist alley that I've ever been a part of and ever seen. And also it means that because it's so big, the quality of artwork in there is phenomenal. And I met so many great artists this weekend, and I had a really good time. If you are a local or you feel like checking out a new convention, I highly recommend attending just as an attendee. You could spend so much time there just wandering the floors and seeing all the cool stuff that there is to see. One extra highlight as a vendor at Emerald City was the fact that they gave us free Wi-Fi as Artist Alley exhibitors. As far as I can recall, I don't remember any other shows doing that. So quick summary of my weekend: I flew in on Wednesday and set up that afternoon and evening. Once you get on the floor, you can kind of just, work at your own pace. It's kind of a normal thing. I know in artist alleys, typically people bring fairly simple setups, so you only need a couple hours, maybe less, to display them. But for me, I like to have a little bit more time to put out my stuff and yeah, maybe see a little bit of the town, etc. The first day of the show was on Thursday, and I started out Thursday really good. I felt like the attendance was amazing, and just like the vibe from everybody throughout the entire weekend was really amazing. If you were there, you said hi and we got to meet and all that kind of fun stuff. Thank you so very much for making my convention an awesome and exciting experience. Unfortunately, I had a little bit of a hiccup as far as my display stuff goes. My case with my backdrop didn't show up. Thankfully, I planned ahead for these things and I had already left out the image tapestry, and I was able to borrow a friend's poles. It's all replaceable stuff. It just meant that my display that you had seen here in the studio wasn't exactly the same as what I wanted to have at Emerald City. There was one unique thing that happened from it. In my backdrop case, I actually ended up putting some of my business cards. So I stuck them in last minute, and I get to Emerald City and I have no business cards. So I got to experiment with telling everyone to take a picture of my social media sign instead of handing out business cards all the entire weekend. I still go by what I've said before, and the fact that having business cards on hand is incredibly important at a convention. I did have some, but I want to append a previous comment suggesting that you must have them, and basically go with the fact that a sign does work for people that are just wanting your social media. I've always had that there, and I feel like you could kind of get away with just having a sign like I did for an entire Emerald City weekend. If you're in a pinch and you don't have the budget to spend on business cards, it's something that could be an option for you. Anyways, the rest of the weekend went awesome. I had a lot of time spent hanging out with friends and yeah, just seeing everyone that I've seen in years past. The conventions for me are just kind of a way to interact and see friends every year, and that's what makes them extra special. A lot of my friends also are vendors at conventions and shows, and so the time after a convention in the evening is usually when we get a chance to hang out and catch up. One extra cool thing that I was a part of this year at Emerald City was the yearly art book. The Monsters and Dames art book was put on by Emerald City, and this art book is just a collection of art from different artists in Artist Alley, and it was really cool to be a part of this. I got to sign a lot of books over the weekend, and yeah, it's always nice to have your work in a book with other artists that you admire. But there is so much cool artwork in here. So I included a early Naya and the Fox Dragon piece that isn't one I normally publish. The landscape for this piece was inspired by my trip to New Zealand. It was really fun to make this one. Now I picked up some other books while I was there. I typically don't do a whole lot of shopping at conventions, but art books are my weakness, so I ended up picking up a couple while I was there. It's extra special for me to be able to get an artist to sign them or just have that first-hand interaction with an artist and maybe get to know them. Maybe it's my first introduction to their work, or maybe they're just a friend and an artist that I've known for a long time that I have some new art books I need to get from them. So there was quite a lot here that I wanted to show you. Now this art book is by my friend Devin. She has an awesome collection of work and I was super excited to get this book from her. I just love her art so very much. Devin's been working on this series for quite some time and she has some really exciting projects coming out in relation to it. So if you don't follow her already, I highly recommend it. These next two books were extra special. These are Mouthguard Books from David Peterson, and both of these I wanted to pick up a while ago actually. David Peterson I met at the One Fantastic Week workshop and we got to talking a lot about world building and all those kinds of fun things. So it's been really great getting to know him and also the Mouthguard world. He left me some cute sketches in there. I just love the detail in his work and I'm very much looking forward to sitting down and reading these. I feel like I should have read them a very long time ago. Winter is actually the second book in his Mouthguard series. I highly recommend checking out the first one if you get a chance. This alphabet book is by David, but it was also illustrated by Serena Malon, and I just absolutely love her illustrations in here. I love the idea of an alphabet book in general, but the quality of work that she's contributed, it's completely and totally adorable. It's quite cute. The next book I picked up is The Cloud Factory. This is by Alexandra Douglas, and this is just a small little beginning to a project that she's working on. I picked it up because David introduced me to her, and I just love the pieces in here. There's a little bit of a comic here at the beginning, which is awesome. A little bit of world building, and then you get to the really cool part, which is why I picked it up. But there's these characters and world descriptions, and I just thought it was really cool to like read a little bit more about the story and the people behind it and the characters and all that kind of fun stuff. And I just enjoyed the character sketches a lot. So I'm very much looking forward to the full book when that comes out, but in the meantime, you should check out her work. This other art book was a bit of an accident actually. I met Bobby Chu at the convention, and Bobby was actually on his way out. We ended up exchanging art books. I brought a book for him as a gift, and he insisted that I have one of his in exchange. So this was really fun reading through on the airplane back. I just love all of his little sketches in here. Now this isn't just Bobby Chu, this is actually Jim Bryson as well. So it's two artists. And yeah, it's just incredible. There's so many fun little sketches in here, finished art, etc. These next two books I picked up at the same time. This first one was by an artist called Robbie Trevino, and I met him at dinner, and he ended up introducing me to the author that wrote this book, who's Brent Nielsen, and that's the one that's written this one right here. Now Robbie has got this really, really cool world building going on, and if you're at all a fan of just like giant worlds and a little bit of sci-fi and stuff like that, this is definitely something that you want to be looking into and picking up. The world building and storytelling along with it is super fascinating, and I really enjoyed reading through this one as well. So the other book is a comic, and this was illustrated by someone else, but I loved, this was inspired by Australia, and if you flip through it, you are already going to get a feel for what kind of the outback looks like. And I haven't read this yet, but I'm looking forward to this evening. And yeah, I love the illustrations in here. It's super cool. And there you have it. All in all, it was an amazing weekend, and I highly recommend attending as an attendee if you ever get the chance to Emerald City Comic Con. I have a question for you before we go. What are your favorite items to buy from artists at conventions? Let me know in the comments down below, and I look forward to reading those. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!